Is your business struggling right now? You might think that it's because you don't have enough sales, but the reality is it's because you don't have the attention of the marketplace. This is Attention Equals Dollars, where you'll learn to master digital attention and turn that attention into sales for your business. I'm your host, Luke Nestler. I'm a digital marketing expert and a master at getting attention and turning that attention into sales. You deserve more. Your business deserves more. And I'm here to teach you everything that I know on how to get the attention that you need and to turn that attention into dollars. Welcome to the Attention Equals Dollars podcast, where we come to you each week live from the Impact Media offices to help you master digital attention and transform your business. I'm your host, Luke Nestler. Listen, this podcast is all about helping you figure out social media and develop your roadmap to getting attention on your brand, and most importantly, how do you turn that attention into dollars? That's what we're here to do. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes. This is available on iTunes. We're also streaming live as we do it from Facebook and YouTube. You can subscribe to the Luke Nestler YouTube channel and the Luke Nestler Facebook page. Guys, I'm really excited today. We got an awesome guest. We got the Viking in the studio. We got Jerry Hanley. People call you Jay though, right?
Yeah, either one works.
Jerry, the Viking Hanley. 15 years in the industry and the industry of athletic performance, right?
Yeah, exactly. Strength and conditioning.
Does it piss you off when people call you a personal trainer?
Not anymore.
Not anymore?
No, actually, not from the beginning. Not really, because most people just don't know that there is a difference.
It's
now,
like calling a cinematographer a videographer. There's a big difference, right?
Yeah,
so,
I can imagine.
So you're an athletic.
So an athletic trainer is medical.
Gotcha.
So that's the one. Personal trainer, it's like, that's fine.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's fine.
You're a strength and conditioning coach. You're a performance coach, and you've
Right.
got 15 years in the industry. You've worked with some of the titans of industry, Mike Barwis, some of the top athletes in the world. You started out at West Virginia University. You're now doing your own thing, building your own brand through Viking Performance, correct?
Exactly.
So the reason we have you on here today is Jay is a prime example of, you're one of the most talented people in the industry. I would put you up against anybody else in the country. But you struggle with the same thing that so many other business owners struggle with, and that is getting attention on your brand and then turning that attention into dollars. How do I let everybody know that I'm better than, the pizza serving gyms that you can go to, the other performance facilities in town? How do I get that attention on my brand and turn that into sales? That's why you're hanging out with us today, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So tell everybody about Viking. What do you do? Who do you work with? It's not just athletes. It's exactly, average Joes like me as well, right?
We're a completely all-inclusive training facility when it comes to strength and conditioning. Because, like you said, I spent 10 years at West Virginia University as a strength coach there. Went through 2 full staffs. Like I said, like Mike Barwis will always be my main mentor. He's who brought me in. He's who gave me a chance. Taught me so freaking much. We talk all the time now, text all the time. We have similar schedules of loving to talk at odd hours at night, whatever it is. And then, when that staff moved on to their next step in their lives in Michigan, before Barwis doing Barwis Methods, the new staff came in, Mike Joseph, who's still there, and I remained through both, put all that together, and then just it hit that time where right about the 10-year mark, that I was like, okay, coaching is not known to be a profession where you retire from very often because it's so volatile. And so it just kind of hit that point where I was like, okay, I'm ready for a change. And personally, I've been in Morgantown since I came to school here, and I wanted to stay in the area. So simply trying to find another job at another school was instantly off the table, because I just wasn't interested in that. So that's where, decided I was like, I feel I can definitely do my own thing. And even though Morgantown has a good selection of fitness options around it, I knew that nothing had the what I actually had, which was the experience, like I said, working with such a top level and the specificity.
Right.
So with my background with athletes in strength and conditioning, but also my academic background, which was more school of medicine side and kinesiology and exercise physiology, that I wanted to have a place where people could experience goal-specific training, just like elite athletes do, training for their own sport, but then also have it be modified for their own conditions and their goals, regardless of whether it's general fitness, having never trained before, like rehab,
right.
post rehab work, pretty much wherever.
So you obviously you understand that at this point in time, or in the story you're telling, you understand that look, I have this unique skill set. I can do this on my own. I'm confident that there's a need for what I am doing for these athletes in the general public. Was that your first time? Was that your first run in entrepreneurship? Had you ever done anything before? So Viking is the first and only thing you've done in entrepreneurship.
Exactly, and it was hit the ground running.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I got asked a lot if it had always been a goal or maybe the whole year. It was 3 months between sitting down and first thinking about it to actually opening the doors. Like 12
That's amazing.
weeks.
You act fast. That's how Jeff and I have built this business. We make a decision and we act fast. Let me ask you a serious question.
The hardest part was just the actual physical going in and telling. Well, my athletes were the hardest. But
right.
The actual just announcement to the people that I was leaving WVU because I've been there so long.
Right.
But
to start
the
your
other
own
part
thing
was just exciting.
Yeah. So that was the most difficult part. Let me ask you. This is a serious question. Mm-hmm. Are you ready for it? How difficult was it to grow that beard? For those that are on the podcast, you need to check out the Facebook Live. Tell me about the beard before we get too serious into this thing.
Yeah, no, this is my second beard in my life. Through that, the first
How long
one,
have you had this beard? This one.
This one will be 5 come April.
Wow,
it's almost kindergarten.
Wow.
Yeah, and I actually measured it against a 3-month-old baby at the gym the other day, and it's about mid thigh level on the baby.
So wow. So it's half of a baby.
So yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, a little bit more, two-thirds of a 3-month-old.
That's crazy.
And yeah, it started like so many good beards do, meaning that I just kept putting it off and giving myself more reasons to put it off.
Can I grow a beard like that? It's weak up in here.
That's the hardest part. But honestly, if you give it enough time, I think a lot of people will come in more than they think.
Pat, that's the key. Time. That's the key. It's
everybody
time.
Here has heard this now, so I expect some measurable change in 3 months.
Exactly.
I'll give you guys a leeway there.
So let's dive into this because the whole concept of this show, when we're talking to some of the most talented people in the world that quite haven't harnessed the power of getting attention and turning it into dollars, is to help you, but then also let people learn from this session with you. Learn from your example of, look, he's the best at what he does. Maybe somebody watching is the best in real estate and having the same problems as you are. So let's dive into this because I want it to be both valuable for you as well as the viewers and the listeners. So you obviously started very quickly, and how Viking has been in existence for how many years now?
3.5.
So 3.5 years. So obviously you've been able to survive. You've been able to continue to do this and chase your dream of growing Viking. What's the goal? How big do you want Viking? If at the end at your funeral, as Gary Vaynerchuk would use the example, they read your whatever they read at the funeral. Your whatever, your bio, what you accomplished in life. When they get to Viking performance, what does that line say?
To me, when I think about it, the picture is much clearer of my future goal with that when it comes to the quality of the place. Like, I want it to be known as a destination gym that people pretty much all across the world really know about, or at least know about, if not actually try to go to every once in a while. Mm-hmm. Which might seem crazy, but those things exist.
Yeah, but it's not. It's better than you saying I want to be the best gym in North Central West Virginia. That's too small of a goal.
Exactly.
Right.
Like that's so I want it to be a true destination gym, and I naturally have a desire to grow it and create more. I said, but when I see those, it's like it does become a little less clear to me whether I want 5 more, 50 more, something like that. But it's always going to be about quality and that destination to me. So really, the more people that I get from different states or even countries come to the gym, something like that, that to me is more valuable as the experience and like the memorable part of it than how many locations I might have.
I got it.
I would like to. I mean, 5 is my minimum goal. Like I want at least 5 gyms.
5 gyms.
Like at least 5 like solid.
But more importantly, like you said, than the number, you want the Viking brand, Viking Performance brand, to be that sought after destination gym around the world, regardless of if it's maybe that plan changes and maybe it's just this one location in Morgantown or all 5 locations. The big goal really though is to be that sought after destination gym, similar to what your good friend Mike has built, correct?
Exactly, yeah. I mean,
So
without even knowing it, at the time, I mean, that he had gotten the steps for that much growth in place. That's basically the same type of track that I was doing. Different ways of, he's focusing so much on like the professional side of things and doing amazing things there. Like,
here's the beautiful thing is with what we're going to dive into today. There's one different. Well, there's a lot of differences between you and Mike, but you guys are also very similar. And again, for those that are listening or watching and don't know who Mike Barwis is, you need to go look it up. It'll make much more sense. But he is one of the icons of the sport. Here's the beautiful thing. You know essentially what he knows, or you have your version. You can do exactly what he does to an extent. There's no reason why his brand has to be bigger than yours. The biggest difference is and maybe he's lucked into some of it and stumbled into some of it. He's found a lot of attention that has resulted in building that brand, and then that attention turned into increased traffic in his gym and his facilities. Mm-hmm. The only thing keeping you from doing what you're talking about is a matter of there's not enough people that know when they drive past your gym the main difference between you and the other competitors in town, because there is a main difference. The people that still think that it's just that place to where there's benches or there's speed ladders and all these different things, yes, that's there. But what makes your gym different is you and your staff. That's the biggest thing. And that's what we're going to try and uncover today is how can we get that exposure out there in the simplest form, which is going to be on social media, and then use that as a snowball effect to continue to build that brand awareness. So you've obviously you've done well. You've grown the gym. You're surviving. But you're ready to take it to the next level. In your opinion, why are you stuck right now? Why are you not to where you want to be? Other than it takes time, obviously. Right. But why haven't we reached that goal yet, in your opinion?
It's almost like a bullseye, in essence. It's like I've actually thought about this analogy before, where the people that I need to get to are in that middle red dot. They're right in that spot. And the people that have come to know me a lot, or like that have come to know about the gym, or that come about, or things like that, like sometimes they come from that bullseye, but a lot of times they come from outside of it. Mm-hmm. But the majority of that bullseye, just based on my product, is local coaches and then the athletes themselves. Like parents of a high schooler or something, like, they're going to be pretty involved in looking for the training or thinking about getting training started for their kid. But if we can get, especially like the high school athletes, where the choices are much more self-regulated, or they might bring up that they're interested, or that if they have a preference of where to go train, getting that group and the coaches that actually work with them in their sport at their schools, getting that group to be more open and know more about what we do, the value that we can provide and serve, like that's been the single biggest obstacle, is actually just like the local coaches themselves and athletic programs. Because here, a little bit different than a lot of West Virginia or even rural PA, things like that, is Morgantown has its own strength and conditioning programs for the local high schools, so they have something. And it's automatically more than anywhere around us has. So it's really created and ingrained this kind of status quo feeling of, well, we already have this and it's worked out pretty well. Part of it's because nobody else has it, so we don't need to go outside for anything like this. Like they want to be completely self-controlled with it.
So what you're saying, and I hear what you're saying, and that's different than the town that I grew up in, where that necessarily wasn't the case for all the surrounding schools. But this community, this town also has a school system, but there are some folks that need that extra level of attention and training, and they go out and they get tutors. So if that is possible for them, and I think you know this as well, there's still that person that is going to want to work outside of the options that are. And it's great that it's made available to them. I think that's a great thing. But you're a tier or 10 tiers above what they already have offered to them, essentially at no cost. It's just a matter of positioning yourself as why they need to come to me. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, it's building the excitement in that core group, and like a much higher willingness to work actively with us.
So really, the big thing is, you're not getting enough targeted attention from within the core groups that you're going after. Not everybody's your customer. Specific groups are your customer, and then you're not getting the message to them that is persuasive and educational enough to let them know why, again, it's different than the competitor across town or, the pizza serving gym. So why should I invest my time and money when I have these options available to me at no cost? You're not getting that message to the right audience, and you're not letting them know that message of, I'm 10 steps above. I can help you progress your athletic career at a much faster rate. Is that kind of where?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
So out of all that, outside of I want to train more athletes, et cetera, what's the most annoying thing that you're dealing with right now as a byproduct of that? You're not getting the attention within those circles that you just talked about. And if you are, maybe if they know who you are and they drive past you on the way to school or coming home from school, they don't know, hey, what's the difference between that gym and the one across town? What's the most annoying aspect of that in your life right now?
It is that I've been around this so long that it's when people don't seem to understand, like I said, the value, like the difference in the quality, how much of a difference that can make in your development and your performance, right. And especially that it also involves real commitment.
Right.
That's one thing about our product, of course, is that training the body and like focusing on that, and then the mental aspects that go with it, is it's not something that you can just do once or short term and then you're going to have that. Like, it needs that commitment. So it's understanding why. So it's both believing that it's going to be better and understanding why it's going to be better, but then also the committing to the process long enough. Like, for example, we get a fairly natural boost before a handful of the sports seasons in the roughly 2 months beforehand, right. Which is great business-wise. I'm glad they're taking that step, because we can make you physically more prepared in 8 weeks.
Right.
But we can make you like a completely different level.
I got you.
If we have 6 months or 9 months.
And I see what you're saying. So here, let me kind of share my annoying factor so that you understand and feel comfortable maybe sharing yours, because I think yours is the same as everybody else's. You're one of the strongest guys I've ever met. You've got thick skin, and I don't think you want to admit it, but I'm in the same boat, or have been in the same boat, and other people are. Here's what I'm getting at. The reason we started doing what we do now as a company, the reason we do social media, is because we used to be a web design and video production shop. We didn't have enough attention on us. So the most annoying thing down to its core, there's all these other things, but the most annoying of them all is I wasn't making any damn money. Like, I slept on the floor of my office. That's
the most frustrating one. Yeah.
That is the most frustrating, because you can't help people at your best ability for free. Everybody's so afraid to talk about money. I can't help you grow your business if you don't pay me, because that's how I survive. So you can't help these athletes progress and be the best they can be. You can't help people like myself and Jeff and Patrick and Aaron be better citizens, be healthier citizens, if they don't know you, and at the root of it, if they don't hire you.
Yeah.
So the most annoying thing, obviously as a byproduct of all that, is it not annoying that, we should be 10x where we're at right now financially at the end of the year with our business if these people just knew how great we were. That's where I was. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
No, that's completely accurate.
It's a pain in the ass, isn't it?
I've talked to so many different people. There's this crazy idea out there that people get that fitness should be free.
Yes. Well, I wonder why.
It is because you can go out there and freaking do it yourself.
Exactly.
But it's like you're paying for expertise. Why aren't you? If you can do it for free, but then why aren't you?
So tell me this. So there's the $10 a month gym, and then there's the programs that cost hundreds of dollars. But there's a big difference in those two. It's like somebody that wants a $500 a month social media campaign versus somebody that's willing to invest thousands. You're going to get a better result. Is that true for your industry as well? Is that Absolutely. What you're talking about
Absolutely.
Right there?
Yeah, like so many people are into the price aspect of it, and they just go to these places because of like amenities they may have. And if you're not going in there and putting in the work, and committing to the process, let alone having somebody actually guide you to where you want to be, showing up doesn't do it. Buying the membership doesn't do it. Like, even if you go in there and you get a program from something in a magazine, that magazine isn't guiding you where you want to go. It's not showing you when you're doing something wrong. It's not telling you, it's like, hey, I can see that you're trying to do it, but it's going to be better if you actually do this. Or like, hey, I can tell that you're just going through the motions. You need to pick up like what everything that you're doing.
Gotcha.
Like, it's not going to be there actually fixing you, like guiding you, redirecting you, pushing you, and making sure that you continue to go through and progress on the journey that you're trying to go through. So yeah, that's the difference between the $10, $30 gym and the, like, our basic membership is $50 or $60, and even that's only $40 in the example that we're using. We have the best equipment in the world.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Everything that we get, we have more of it than anywhere within hundreds of miles, and more so
than the equipment. The equipment's a commodity.
Yeah.
You have the
right,
IP.
Exactly,
you have you and Mickey.
Exactly.
And
above that, we have the quality of the coaches. And I said, we're going to get you there.
Right. Because here's the thing, that this is what you have to illustrate, and we'll get to explaining that message. I walk into the big purple gym that everybody knows, and that equipment looks really nice. And maybe it is nice equipment, but the average Joe that's not you and your staff members or the really educated individual does not realize that that thing is any less better than the thing that you have in your gym. And it may or may not be. So you do have the best equipment, but you have to let the people know the difference between that and the equipment at other gyms, and what's more important than that equipment, because that's a commodity. That gym could buy the same equipment, I would think, or something close to it. What they can't buy is you and your expertise. That is the barrier to entry. Everybody tries to compete on what everybody else is showcasing. We've got the lowest price. We've got the best equipment. We've got this. We've got that. They put their face on billboards. They buy these business cards. I did a live stream yesterday. Every realtor is doing the exact same thing. They put their face on a billboard. They say, we'll sell your home, and they show listings and say, call me today. So there's no difference between you and the 500 other people that I see doing that same thing. The people that are going to win are going to be those that position themselves as the biggest expert in real estate. If you look at what Mike Barwis has done, TV channels, himself, coaching staffs have positioned him as the expert. WVU has great equipment, but so does Clemson, so does Alabama, so does Fairmont State. They all have nice equipment. Some have nicer than others, but you make a decision on the person. So the missing link, it isn't the fact that they just don't know we have nicer equipment. They don't know that Viking has Jay Hanley. That it has, who's the other trainer, other guy with the beard? Calvin. That, for some people, Mickey's the perfect fit. Mickey's who trains me, and she's beat my ass into shape, and it's awesome. I can't get Mickey at another gym. That's the missing link that has to be communicated. Do you agree or disagree with that?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Because what you've told me is your end goal, when it's all said and done, you want your biography to read that Jerry Hanley created one of the greatest destination gyms across the world for people that want to get in superior shape. And you're telling me the main reason you're stuck is, at least in the local area, let's fix the local issue before we go worldwide. Locally, they've got these options that, why should my sophomore in high school, why should I pay that for him to go to this other gym when they have these options already provided to the athletes extracurricular after school? So we've got to break that down.
Right.
And the reason that hasn't been broken down is they don't understand the value from, and it's a money thing. You need more money. I need more money. That person wants to hold on to their money. So they don't understand the value of your minimum $50 a month investment up to, I'm sure there could be several $100s a month if I really want to work with you. So they have to understand the real value before they're going to shell that over. And the real value isn't, to you, it's, man, we got the best equipment, and you should keep buying the best equipment. But to me, before I pull my wallet out, that real value has got to be what I know about you. And that is, holy shit, he knows, he worked with the best in the world, therefore he's one of the best in the world. I've seen you train other athletes. You've worked with me, you've worked with other business professionals, other athletes, your staff. I've seen it. We've got to make sure that other people see it. So here's here's the thing. If you could tell me something that the competitor is not saying, you have an athlete that comes in, and what's the most lucrative, or the people you can help the most? Are they high school athletes? Like, who do you like to work with the most? Is it average Joes like me? Is it that high school athlete that you like to see him progress from a sophomore to a senior and get that full ride? Let's figure out who you like to work with the most so I can use a real example.
Yeah, high school and late middle school athletes.
Okay. So when it's a high school athlete, you're not talking to necessarily, you're talking to both. You're talking to the middle school, high school kid, but they're not paying for it. It's the parent. So what can you say to that parent if I'm sitting here right now? The first thing we're going to do with your kid when he comes in is this, to ensure that we know exactly where they're at, so that we ensure that every step we move forward we're moving safely, so that we're not hurting them, we're not breaking down any muscles because they're using improper form. What's the first week look like if you've never worked with me before? Am I going in and just getting started lifting and running sprints, or are we doing something different?
We're taking it. We have, like, we don't do templates, for example. Like, based on what we know about an athlete coming in, we'll put together different workouts, very basic workouts based on the type of things they would be doing to train for that sport later on through the training. And yeah, we take you through a very basic workout so that you are training on the first day, but the intention is to assess everything from beginning to end. And the first thing we're going to look at is how you move. How's the athlete you move?
Okay, why?
Because you have to move right to play right, and you have to move right to train right, and you have to be able to move correctly to do the exercise correctly in order to have the exercise be worth a damn to you when you actually get on the field. Because that's the biggest thing you see is coaches all around, trainers everywhere else, pushing the athletes to do exercises without actually showing them how to do it correctly. And it's like, congratulations, you're moving more weight on that exercise, but you're actually becoming worse.
Got it. Right there. Has nothing to do with the equipment. Has nothing to do with we have a special on gym memberships, blah, blah, blah. You said it. You have to move right before you can train right. And the consequences of not moving right before you're training are these. So this is why we do this assessment with every athlete when they come in, or every individual when they come in. We make sure that you're moving right so that when we do train, you're safe and the training's more effective. That is an Instagram story. You have Calvin or you have an intern, pick the phone up, and you show that assessment happening. And this is all being recorded. So don't have to worry about notes, whatever. Just watch this again.
You read my mind.
Yeah, I know, because I guarantee you're going to be like, shit, I should be writing this down. This is all recorded. You have somebody, and we're going to talk to you about different platforms. How do you show that assessment? So Instagram, that's where you need to be for the younger audience. That's where the high school kids are going to see that. That's also where mom and dad are starting to be able to see it, because they're paying it. The adults, people your age, my age, Jeff's age, 30s, 40s, 50s, are starting to pay attention to Instagram, but also high school students are on it. So how you tell that story about the assessment, you have to move right to train right. You have somebody pick up a phone and just literally shoot those 1-minute clips throughout that assessment. And while you're doing it, you're turning to the phone and you're talking about, now right now I'm having Jonathan do this because of this reason. And if we didn't do this, we wouldn't know if they're moving right. And that potentially could create a back problem or stunt their growth or something like that. So you showcase that through your Instagram stories. Then you pull out a phone, and I've seen you do it before. You turn that phone sideways, and you shoot a 1-minute video. The biggest mistake that most young athletes make is they don't ensure that they're moving right before they're pushing forward with their training. Yeah. What I'm doing first is I'm making sure you're going to move right before we can train you the correct way. And we do that through this 3-step process, or however many steps it is. And you briefly go through that. Right there you have 2 pieces of content. You have one for Instagram, you have one for Facebook, you can post it on YouTube. But what you talked about is the thing that's going to set you apart from that other program. Man, that coach after school just made my kid start squatting 135 pounds and he never even had a bar on his back before. Or, the Big Purple gym didn't tell me that. They just gave me a Tootsie Roll and said, go to town. So
that happens all the time.
That's the difference. It's not the equipment. It's your expertise. So what you need to do is find those types of things. let's do a couple of other examples so that when you're watching this back, you can understand it. I come up with frequently asked questions or the most important things that they need to know. So in my space, it's your sales are not going to increase after 4 or 5 posts. That would be a piece of content. You need to understand, and this is good for me to tell you as well, it's not going to be 4 or 5 posts and then your business 10x's. It's right. You putting out some piece of valuable information like move right to train right every single day on the platforms that are right for you. Don't worry about Pinterest. Nobody gives a shit about LinkedIn. That's only for boasting about your resume and stuff like that. What you need to be on is YouTube. That's your video brochure. Somebody asks you about your business. Hey, you know what? Go to YouTube. There's a ton of great video examples of what we do. You need to be on Facebook. That's where the parent, the moneymaker, the person's going to pay for their athlete to train with you, or maybe I'm going to see it and I'm going to hire you. I'm on Facebook. Then you need to also be on Instagram because that's where some of the parents are and that's where all the kids pay attention at scale. So you need to be on all those platforms consistently every day. Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. And if you can only start with 2, Facebook and Instagram. Every day you're putting something out that is the non-commoditized version of what you do. The commoditized version is we've got the best equipment. Okay, in my mind, I know you do. But if somebody who doesn't know you, okay, that's what everybody says. Right. We've got the best deal on vehicles. I can get the same price on my Land Rover at any dealership that I could at that one. So don't compete on what people think is a commodity, which is the equipment, and the price is going to be irrelevant. Grant Cardone, we're going to the 10X Growth Con. You're going with us. Grant Cardone says people buy every single time when value exceeds price. You could charge $2,000 a month if there was enough value in it. Mm-hmm. That value is not your equipment. It's move right to train right. So next thing, what is, if I'm trying to get quicker, I don't care about the equipment I'm going to use. I need to be able to move quicker without injuring myself or whatever it is. What are the first things you do to start helping somebody get increase their speed, their foot speed, their agility, whatever it is? What's that process look like from the very beginning?
Yeah, it goes to movement again, but specifically we check alignment because the joints in the body need to be aligned. Mm-hmm. It's all physics. Everything is physics. It needs to be aligned vertically and optimally so that no joint's going to have excess stress to increase injury rate, and you're going to have maximal force production put through in the direction that you're applying through, which is either through the ground, whether it's the jump, sprint.
What is maximal force production?
So like the most force you can apply in ideally the minimal amount of time.
Explain it that way.
Power.
I don't mean to interrupt you. I want to make sure as we're going through this. I could talk to you about pixel tracking and remarketing and all that, and you might understand it because we've spoke multiple times. But for the common person, that's just smoke and mirrors jargon, techno babble. You understand it, but I don't. Okay. So explain it to me like I'm a 6th grader. Because that is how I've excelled what I've done on social media, because I don't talk to you and leave you saying, man, he sounded really smart, but I have no idea what the hell he just said. You need to make sure that you have one shot at explaining something to them, especially on social media. Make sure that when they leave, they're like, man, he did a really good job of explaining that. Gary Vaynerchuk, before he owned VaynerMedia, he was a wine mogul because he talked to me about wine like a beer drinker would talk to me about beer. It wasn't intimidating, it wasn't snooty, it wasn't confusing. He broke it down. Hey, this thing tastes like bubble gum and cherries. That is not how some wine snob would explain to you that. But it got the point across. So again, explain to me like I'm a 6th grader that has I don't know anything about training. How do you help me increase my foot speed? You said it starts with movement. So you check alignment and then continue.
Your goal of speed is to get from point A to point B in just one place as fast as you can. That's what we know. You're going to get there faster if you can basically get there in the least number of steps. Mm-hmm. And that's going to happen by pushing yourself further every single step that you go. Every single time your foot hits the ground, I want you to cover more distance. I want you to get there faster one step at a time and add that up. And that's going to happen by making sure that you can push through the ground harder and push through the ground faster. And then that is going to make sure that your body moves further and faster.
And what are some of the exercises that we do to make sure that you can push through the ground harder and push through the ground faster? What are those? And then you would start to show me those, again, on Instagram. Today, we're going to take you behind the scenes at Viking on how to get faster. The first thing you have to know is it's a movement thing. You have to be aligned. It's as simple as being able to push through the ground harder, push through the ground faster. I'm going to show you 5 exercises that we work on with every single one of our athletes. One of these you can do from your home, and it's going to help you push through the ground harder, push through the ground faster. Then you illustrate those 5 exercises. You do that. That's your Instagram story for the day. Then you have 5 different videos that you create separately about how to increase your foot speed. It's by pushing through the ground faster, pushing through the ground harder. This is exercise number 1 on increasing your speed. This is exercise number 2, and then you do that through 5. And there's 5 pieces of content that, again, educate people on the machine. If it's one of your really fancy pieces of equipment, explain to me, hey, this is our blah, 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 blah. We have it here at Viking. We use it all the time. It's one of the top pieces of equipment in the world, and we use it to help you, increase your reflexes or whatever, to help you push through the ground faster and harder. So you can tie in your equipment, but you're doing it through teaching people the specific steps. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm pumped.
What are your thoughts?
I'm good.
Good. Listen, don't. Again, for the people that are listening to us, if you get too pumped up, we still have one of your battle axes from the contest.
I'll pick Jeff up over my head.
Pick Jeff up over your head. Jerry's came in here before with shields, real axes, real swords, and we've done photo shoots. So I don't want to see you get too pumped up. And we're drinking coffee.
Mine has 6 shots of espresso, by the way.
How much coffee will you drink in a day? Let me ask you that.
It is a nonstop thing for me. It's a half gallon to 3/4 of a gallon.
No
probably.
shit.
Yeah.
That's insane. Yeah. For the people that give me a hard time, I have all my Lavelle and Thrive and all these health brand folks that give me so much trouble about my coffee and my Red Bull. I drink maybe 2 coffees a day, and on a really good day, I might also drink a Red Bull.
Oh yeah, no, I start and end my day with it, and I don't really stop.
And just black?
I don't do black, actually.
Yeah.
So it's funny because with the Vikingness, I'm half Puerto Rican.
Okay.
Which a lot the coffee was literally growing in my backyard. Like until I moved to West Virginia when I was 7, when I was a little kid.
Wait, so you were born in Puerto Rico?
I was born in Charleston, West Virginia.
Okay.
My mom is Puerto Rican, and when I was like 1 year old, we moved to Puerto Rico. I moved back when I was 7.
I got you.
In my family's place, I have a huge Puerto Rican family. Like coffee actually grew there. And so, I was 3 years old and drinking coffee. What's funny is their coffee's so fresh and strong that they actually put a lot of cream and sugar in it. Mm-hmm. So to a lot of Americans, it looks very, like very doctored and white. It's funny because then I go there and they think that I drink my coffee very dark. It's like I'm like right in the middle.
That's all right. Hey, I have to choke down black coffee, so I got to put some cream in this. So it's all right.
I'm cream, and the reason I do espresso, I think, is kind of to like cover that distance because the caffeine doesn't do anything. Trust me. It's to cover the distance. It's to cover the distance in the strength, so that it tastes more like fresh coffee would, like something like that.
All right, let's wrap this thing up because this is where the work starts. So those are just a couple of examples.
Yeah.
So here's what I want you. Imagine if you had 2 to 3 pieces of content going out a day. Let's say 5 pieces of content going out a day. It only took you 6 minutes total. 10 minutes total. We'll go on the heavy side. It took you 10 minutes total that day to create that content. You got 5 pieces of content that day, and you do that every single day for 365 days. That's literally what my life looks like. Everybody thinks that I spend so much time on social media. I don't. I spend my time building relationships, closing deals, working with clients. I spend anywhere from 6 to 15 minutes tops a day. And I'm putting out content at scale, and that's what's grown our business. I've never done Yellow Pages. I've never done a radio ad. I've never done a billboard. Not saying any of those are bad. I've just never done them, and I've grown this business from literally 15 minutes a day max, and I push out anywhere from 2 to 3 to 5 pieces of content. If you do that every single day based off of the 2 examples we talked about today, where you're showing what you do, that way you're not competing on price or equipment with somebody else. You're competing on the fact that I've got better people than they do. I am the expert. I am the Louis Vuitton and the Gucci of this industry here. And right now you're going to the Walmart. Do you want to use the Walmart brand to get your peak performance, or do you want to work with the top tier? You don't have to even say that. It's obvious. The reason people will use us over a knockoff version of our product is because they want to actually get a result. So if I'm going to spend money or my time and sweat and blood, sweat, and tears, which is what comes in with anything being an athlete, why would I not work with the best? So you have to show that you're the best. So imagine doing that for half the year, doing it for half of the year, and you look back and your business has gone up 20, 30, 40%. What would that do for you personally? What would that do for your ego? What would that do for your staff? What would that do for you?
I mean, yeah, that would be enormous. Ego, I don't think it would do much because I'm kind of like whatever.
I have an ego, but it comes from a good place.
Exactly.
I want people to think, man, that guy's really cool. I want to hang out with him because I like being around people.
Exactly.
So it's all right. But I'm glad you don't have an ego.
It's very solid. It is like exactly.
What would it do for your pride?
But yeah, pride. I mean, I'd feel freaking great about it because it would be factual. Evidence that I was able to step into something, like I said, very quick, building the business, and make it work.
Right.
And make it work. And that I'm doing it by helping people.
Yeah.
Which is huge for me. One of my goals, like I said, staff-wise, is being a strength coach in college is not the most lucrative pay that there is. It's getting better because people in the industry are working really hard about it, but it is not you think about football coaches getting paid millions of dollars. Right. It is not that. And one of my goals is I want to get my staff to where they're making more than I ever was in 10 years at WVU.
That's awesome.
That's one of my personal goals.
So that's one of your North Stars. So imagine if, in North Star meaning that's so mine, it's I want to accumulate as much wealth as I possibly can for the company because I also want these guys to be able to grow their income. I want to be able to take care of my wife, my family. So that's what drives me every day. Yeah. And I can see that's the exact same thing for you.
Same thing. I got community things like that I'm working on.
I love
that.
They're
a group I have not everybody that comes to the gym is a competitor one way or another. Meaning in an actual sport.
Sure.
But the ones who come in and really dedicate themselves to it, I want to get to the point where it's okay, you're coming in and you're investing in the overall service and community, so all those things can happen. But I want to be so big to where you come in and you make that investment, and not only are you getting a much more tremendous value, but let's say you qualify for a contest in say Barcelona. I can get you to Barcelona without even blinking twice. Things like that. I want to make that stuff happen for both my staff and the people who come into the gym.
Dude, it absolutely can happen, and there's no reason that it won't happen if you literally do what we're talking about, learn from it. Your version of it is going to be different than anybody else's, but you're going to start to see it happen, and you're going to see other things work better than some others, and then you're going to double down on what works, and you're going to stop wasting your time on what doesn't. If literally in 6 to 12 months, if you do what I'm talking about every single day, I guarantee you that you will see an increase in business. Yeah. I don't know what that increase will be. It might be 50%, it might be 100%, but I know that I have one of the top trainers that I've ever met, probably the top trainer that I've ever met, sitting across from me, and literally Morgantown doesn't know about it. The majority of Morgantown does not know about it. They drive by Viking every day. There are people that do that and have no idea that is one of the best trainers. You have to compete against the people that have that big, massive, beautiful facility, multiple ones across town. You know what I'm talking about. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to get the best experience going there. I can go to your one location, which once you get in, it's badass. But from the outside, I don't really know what, is that another gym? I see a lot of women walking in there. I've had my friends say, are you in Zumba? No, I get my ass kicked there 3 days a week. So you have to let people know what I know about you. And if you do that every single day through the techniques we talked about, you will be in a completely different spot. And Brad Lee says this. He puts his head down for 90 days. He works on achieving his goals, and then he looks up, he sees where he's at, then he goes head down again for 90 days. That's his theory on how you can achieve anything you want in 90 days, because he literally takes everything 90-day increments. So right now, we're head down working on several things. I'm going to look up in, 60, 90, 180 days and see where we're at. We're going to adjust, and then we're going to go back down. So I would challenge you and encourage you to, for the next 90 days, or 180, whatever you want, post every single day on Instagram and Facebook, and try to get one live stream in there a couple times a week to where you're teaching something, you're answering questions. Right. You've seen Mickey do it as well. Every single day for 90 days and see where you're at. And I guarantee you'll see an uptick in your business.
Something else, because actually this is basically like a sudden self-realization I had when you were talking. And basically say it out loud, for the people listening to the show right now, is it hit me that, like, not only the other things, but a lot of the posts that I do put out are results based. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm going
and that's important.
Mentioning people's results, right? And those are good, but but exactly.
Show me what you did to get that result.
Right. I'm like,
that's like my testimonial. Man, so I'm going to put a testimonial out. This customer brought in $300,000 in sales, but what did we do to get them that? And that's where people get scared. And we've never addressed this. This will be the last thing before we close it out. I literally teach people how to do what I do. And you know what happens? They hire me to do it for them. A lot of my competitors would think, and other people out there in different industries would think, Luke, if you're going to teach them how to work out and how to get faster and stronger, why would they use you? Because people need coaches. People don't want to actually do the work themselves. They just want reassurance that it's going to work. And if I show them that if I do this, this, and this, and then boom, we can generate sales for you, well, yeah, they could do it themselves, but they're not going to. Because you know why? They're a dentist, or they're a realtor, or they're a trainer. They're not a marketer. It's the same thing with you. You can show me how to drive my foot into the ground faster and harder every single time, but if I really want results, which that's who you want to work with, I'm going to come to you. So don't be afraid to literally show them everything. I would show them everything. And then do that for 90 days straight, and then look up and see where you're at. And I guarantee you will be making, maybe the first 90 days you don't 10x your business, but you will make noticeable progressions. For every single person that's ever come in this office has one way, shape, or form come from social media, because the first client we ever got was from a relationship built off of social media. Every single one of them. And you'll notice that. I mean, look at Mickey's program. Yeah. It's blowing up from social. And she's not even 10xing what we're talking about yet. So if you do it, if Calvin does it, if she does it, if your other staff members do it, and then you have some of your clients, your athletes do testimonials from all different walks of life. Ashley Walls lost a ton of weight, got in great shape, looks amazing. Viking did that for her, not the Tootsie Roll Factory. All right? You like that, Pat? You think Barb would like that? Yeah. That's good. Not the Tootsie Roll Factory. So here's the thing. Your story is exactly like everybody else's. The reason I chose my real estate agent over somebody else's is because I thought he was the best. Not because he had the best looking business card or he had the best website. All those things are important. But everybody, you, the listener, Jerry, our guest today, makes this mistake. You advertise and compete with your competitors the same way they're competing with you. Nobody, for the most part, is showing their expertise on social media, which is the deciding factor if I'm going to use you. I'm not going to go to a heart surgeon because he had a really nice profile picture and he had a sale and he had a good website. I'm going to go to the best heart surgeon because I want the best result. That's how everybody makes that decision. And I tell people that come in here wanting the best price, you're not going to get the lowest price. You're going to get the best result here. Mm-hmm. And my results speak for themselves, and the content I put out speaks for that. So that's exactly what you have to do. That's what you have to do, the listener. You have to let people know what the only thing that makes you not a commodity is you. It's not your products. Like Jerry said, we've got the best equipment. That's great, but nobody cares about that. They care about the results they're going to get. And that's exactly what you have to do, and that's what you have to do as well. So, man,
it was awesome.
Thanks for coming in. I look forward to looking at what you've done in 90 days. Where can everybody follow you? Very quickly, let us know. How can we learn more about Viking? How can we learn more about you?
Our biggest two definitely are Facebook and Instagram. Like
Good.
I said, haven't been maximizing how to use them. But
Awesome.
we're on that. So yeah, just Viking Performance Training on Facebook. Just look up Viking Performance Training on Instagram as well. The handle, I'm not 100%.
That's all right. From now on, we're going to work on that.
So,
Next time, you're going to be able to say
Yeah.
the handle is this. Make it very simple. Viking Training, Viking whatever it is. Make it very simple and try to make it the exact same on Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah,
and
we're getting
everybody needs it.
copycats now too.
Yeah?
So I found some like about a month ago.
Okay.
One guy, there was one literally in Australia that had pretty much the exact same logo,
Okay.
turned around in different colors,
So here's what you do.
and named Viking Performance.
You can create yours and make them all say the Viking Performance. And here's the thing. We have a lot of our competitors, TV stations, radio stations, newspapers. They're all doing the same shit that we do here. You know what they don't have? They don't have me. They don't have Aaron. They don't have Patrick. They don't have George. They don't have my business partner. I don't care what they try to offer. They will never beat what I'm doing because I'm better than them. So if it's somebody across the country, if it's somebody across town, if they knock you off, you can always sue them. That's fine. But just be better than them and show people on social media.
I think
That's what you're going to do, right?
I think of pride than anything else right now.
Awesome.
It's like, hey, look at these guys.
Hey, you're going to see more from Jerry. We're going to be in Vegas here in February. I'm sure we'll be doing some live stream
it's gonna be
content
awesome.
out there. Maybe you can kick my ass in the gym a couple days, and we'll create some content while we're doing it out there in the
I'll find some
in the
places.
hotel gym or in the casino gym. Guys, remember, be sure to subscribe to the podcast. Attention equals dollars on iTunes, and you can also like the Luke Nestler Facebook page as well as subscribe to the Luke Nestler YouTube channel. We're putting out a ton of content. If you found this helpful, please share this out with somebody. We're not asking you to buy anything. That's not the goal of this show. We're here to help people get more attention on their business and turn that attention into dollars because that's the lifeblood of business, right? Mm-hmm. Coffee's the lifeblood of Jerry Hanley.
Exactly.
Dollars, that's the lifeblood of business. Hey, guys, we'll see you next week. Have a wonderful week. Is your business struggling right now? You might think that it's because you don't have enough sales. But the reality is it's because you don't have the attention of the marketplace. This is Attention Equals Dollars, where you'll learn to master digital attention and turn that attention into sales for your business. I'm your host, Luke Nestler. I'm a digital marketing expert and a master at getting attention and turning that attention into sales. You deserve more. Your business deserves more. And I'm here to teach you everything that I know on how to get the attention that you need and to turn that attention into dollars.